Kasha, why should we listen to this episode today?
I think if you're struggling with your business and your self-worth and feeling not so good about moving forward, knowing that you're in that position to move forward now and you are where you are for a reason. And I would hope that it would empower you to keep moving forward and listening to your vulnerability and your intuitive self, because your intuition is never wrong. So keep pushing forward and Knotty up.
Hi, and welcome to Serenity Now, a place for entrepreneurs to ask questions, learn, get connected, and be inspired. Join us as we talk about all things business and the search for the ever-elusive Serenity Now in both business and personal life.
Welcome to another episode of Serenity Now for Entrepreneurs, where we dive into real life stories of building a business and growing and how do we figure it all out. Here with my wonderful co-host, Candace. Welcome.
Hi, Rita.
Hey, and welcome, Peggy.
Hi, Rita.
And today we have a really special guest with us today, someone who somehow caught my heart and now has made herself near and dear to me all the time. Her name is Kasha Thomson, and she's the founder of the Knotty Cowgirl. And
love the title.
Hey, welcome. I was going to say welcome. So we're going to talk about maybe a story of farming, of resilience, of grit, of passion, and legacy. How about all of those somehow combined in today's story? I'll toss the mic over to you, though, Kasha, and can you give us a quick introduction about yourself?
My name is Kasha, and I've been born and raised on our family farm, which I've been stuck to like glue since the day I was born. I'm fourth generation farmer. Out of all my two other siblings, I'm the only one that's ever shown interest in farming our Century Farm, which has been in our family since 1900. And to this day, my dad and I raise cows for our grass-fed beef and the continuation of farming on our property.
Wow, pretty amazing.
It's a legacy.
Okay, well, let's open this up. So when I said your name, and I also heard it for the first time a few months back, the Knotty Cowgirl, well, my mind might have gone into a slightly different direction or tangent. So I'm going to let you explain maybe the origin or the origin story, or what does this mean? And, instead of us trying to say the name and then laugh. So how about you take it away?
So let's start with the laugh, because creating this name has been a journey on its own. It's quite interesting doing phone conversations in business over the phone and talking about the Knotty Cowgirl. And then I've come to the conclusion that I just have to say it's Knotty with a K now, because I never had the intention of going into the gutter like that. However,
not even a little. Not even.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be tame.
It's catchy, though. It's really catchy.
But the funny story is, it came about in such a totally different objective of what the word meant when it came to be. So I was working at one of my jobs as a car dealer, and I always played sports, and hockey, my number one sport. And I ended up blowing my knee out. I tore my MCL, and I was out for 6 weeks. And being a really busy farm kid when I'm not working, I sat in front of the TV, watched rodeos, and made hemp necklaces and macrame. And out of that 6 weeks, I had so much product that I decided to go to the farmer's market, which my dad's the president of in the valley here. And so I decided to go sell it at the farmer's market, and I wanted to have a name, and I've been born and raised a cowgirl. And so I put the Knotty Cowgirl with a K because of all the knots and the macrame and stuff. And so that's how the name came about before I had the business and even really knew that I was going to name the business the Knotty Cowgirl.
No, you still made us laugh. We're still not out of the gutter yet. You got to keep going.
Don't be. If you want to be in the gutter, I can make my one-liners happen.
I'm sure the name is a little bit more catchy in that there is an insinuation of, naughtiness. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we're on one of the main highways to Tofino, like 2.5 million people go by there. And I bet you about 80% of my customers in the summer, it's just like, we had to turn around. We saw this name and we needed to see what it was all about.
Clever.
And just created it, and they leave smiling. And that's for one of my goals anyways. So.
Well, it's good marketing then, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
On a kind of a negative aspect, like I have kids clothing too, and having the Knotty Cowgirl, I've heard some stories that fans of the store have bought so much of my product. They bought their kids stuff and they went to school with the Knotty Cowgirl, and they had their parents phoned because they thought it was offensive. And it really made my heart feel bad. And I'm like, but the mother wore her Knotty Cowgirl shirts to go and talk to the school about it. So I don't know. That was one of my experiences with it. But it's a tame name. So
That's hilarious. So what does the Knotty Cowgirl do? From what I've heard, you've obviously got some macrame hemp gifts that you make, or?
So that's what started it. I'll kind of go into how the actual store came about. So I worked for 8 years. I've always worked, and then worked on the farm as well. After the dealership, after I healed up, actually right after, I started working at our local paper mill, making paper on the paper machines. And it's something my dad did for 17 years. And I've always wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps, taking over the farm. I even went to the same college in Alberta he did, working the land, knowing the cows, understanding the way of the farm. And one of them was, it actually didn't end up being like that because dad had a heart attack, and I felt like I had to make better money for dad to help support him at the farm. So I ended up going to the mill, the exact same mill he worked for. And it was funny because he's just like, what are you doing? Because he knows the stress of it and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I was there for 8 years. And for on the 6 year-ish, 5-6 year-ish, it came to the mill that we were possibly going to strike. So they told us either to save our money or get busy. Like, okay, I want to get busy. And so I've had this idea of opening up a secondhand tack shop for quite some time, because my friend and I, we would always go around all over Vancouver Island looking for secondhand tack, but we had to go to all these new tack shops to find little bits in the corners here and there, and we never found what we needed. And so we always just started talking, and it's like, well, what if we made a consignment used tack shop in the building that is vacant on our property on the highway? And so I talked to dad about it, and he was okay with it. And I ran the store for 2 years while I still worked at the mill. And when it came to naming it, I told dad, I said, I need a name for this. And he's like, well, you're already the Knotty Cowgirl. And so it's stuck, and it's just taken off. Like, yeah. It's just been a great, amazing adventure.
What a name can do, hey? You know, because really it sounds like it's related, but not related to what you do. And it sounds like the name is a draw on its own.
Absolutely. I see the draw in it, and I see it as like Knotty, is knots for the hemp and stuff. However, it's become a way of life, of being tough through life and being strong to get to where you need to go. People that have put in situations that makes them stronger and believe in themselves. And I feel like now going through this journey, I just hit my 7-year mark with the store, that there's just been this main shift of how my store has helped so many people to recognize their strength, like Knotty Up, like Rita had said. It gives people the courage to be strong for themselves in whatever situation they're in, all the while in an atmosphere where they can trust. With the store, it's horses, but also I wanted to create an environment that it was a safe place for people to come and just be themselves and leave smiling. I don't expect them to buy anything. I have stools there for them to sit and vent, and it's just creating a safe, strong space and creating a brand that people can walk out and feel proud to wear and to feel good about and empowered. I think I've attracted a lot of people with this Knotty Cowgirl energy. It shifted a lot of people's mindset of how amazing and wonderful and strong women are, and boys, because I have the Knotty Cowboy brand as well. It's been a journey, and I'm so blessed, and it's been really, really, really tough, empowering, bittersweet, but all the while I met some great people and moving forward with the business now and change, and I'm looking forward to this next year.
Well, that sounds amazing.
What were some of your biggest challenges that you faced?
So honestly, a lot of the biggest challenges were going through life-altering relationships and not seeing my self-worth and wanting to give up. There's been a couple times where I've wanted to shut the store down because I didn't believe in myself, even though everyone outside of the store believed in me. It's almost like a hypocrite thing, but it's not, because you create a base with your customers and you become this whole, and I try not to show that aspect of things, which I never did, but it was the biggest challenge was to push through that and not show that I was even going through stuff. But also, if it wasn't for my mom, I probably would have been closed, because she was my biggest support. She was my business partner as well. However, she was my biggest support to just keep moving forward. And she was my biggest believer. And she always reminded me why I had the store. And sometimes I didn't understand why I had it. I always knew I wanted it, even from a young kid. I always wanted to have something there, but I never knew what it was. And she always kept me moving forward.
You know, when I went to her store for the first time, which is it's almost like you're walking into an old time, 40, 50 years ago, tack shop with Western wear, and then some really cool modern stuff in there as well. And from hats to jewelry to gifts to boots to you name it, it's all in there. And you just have this nostalgic experience. Even if you've never been a cowgirl or a cowboy, you just have this experience when you walk in there. And like she said, nobody's there to bug you. You're just there and you're just experiencing a whole different kind of, oh, I wonder what kind of life this could have been. And you just enjoy it. And then she's pretty raw about sharing some of the hardships, but she kind of looks at herself like a lot of us look at ourselves, which is, I'm just little Kasha. I'm just little Rita. I'm just little Peggy or little Candace. And whereas others look at you as kind of inspirational, you're the heart of the community. You're always there giving and being generous to others. And you make us laugh just because we say the name, the Knotty Cowgirl. And, and it's just kind of, full 180. When you get a chance to meet and learn a little bit about Kasha and her family and her dad, who sometimes wears bottoms and sometimes doesn't. That's always interesting. So be cautious when you meet dad.
You have to warn him. We have company. Do you have pants on?
But you've gone through, relationship challenges, and we all kind of would reflect back on some of ours. You've gone through the, am I real, or I'm just fake, or am I faking it?
Why do we think that about ourselves? Why do we all do that?
I don't know.
I can't tell you how many times in my career I've thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Who am I? Is this going to end?
Or why are they listening to me? What the hell do I know?
Why do we do that? We need to be strong, girls. Naughty up.
Naughty up, everyone. Naughty up. Right? Yeah, that's going to be the latest thing. Because I think it came from the expression, like, what did you say where did it come from?
In the Western world, it's like either cowgirl up or cowboy up. It's like a branding in the cowboy world, in the Western world.
In the Marines, it's nut up. So, we can't really use that. So.
Right?
I obviously haven't watched enough Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah. You gotta watch it. New One's Territory. It's an Australian one. It's really good, too. Anyways.
So all through this journey, I think you're right. A lot of us, nobody knows what each of us has gone through today, let alone this week, to get here today, to be on this podcast recording. And each one of us could have easily said, I can't do it, because of, A, B through Z, or 1 through 1 billion, reasons why. And we don't share that because I guess we all just naughty up and move on. But I think some of the best learnings and some of the best ways for us to connect and be authentic is by sharing some of these stories. And know that it's not the easiest gig for any of us at any time. So maybe we would judge less, or, not pick on people as much, and maybe give each other a little more room or space.
Exactly. And to learn about, okay, what is your story? Are you willing to sit in this space to tell me if you want to tell me? I find that honestly, in the horse world, there's a lot of judgment and I am like a drama-free zone. I've actually asked people to leave because they were so negative. And then I light my sage and continue on because I want to have a safe place for people. And going through back to my challenges, my biggest challenge was trying to run my business and always worried about like mom pushing me like forward. I think the worst was like, what are people thinking of me? Like, because it's like, you always want validation in some way. Like I see my store also as like a showpiece, like, or an art piece, because I want people to feel comfortable. And I'm okay with no sales as long as they come in like, this is awesome. And I feel like I've done my job. And I think the hardest was like, I'm not worried about what people think of the store. It was always like, because I saw myself in such a low vibration that I would think, what are other people thinking of me? I can't do this business. And mom showed me just to push through. And when she passed away 6 months ago, it was probably the hardest thing out of everything I've ever done. It trumped everything that I ever went through, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I have to learn not to feel guilty for it, because since mom's passed, it's like everything has aligned to where the store needs to be. People have come into my life like Rita. I'm able to talk to you like rawly about my business, about my hardships and my like insecurities, and just feeling that not all endings are doors closing. It's opportunities beginning, because I was there with mom when she passed away. I was there 14 days holding her hand. And like I said, it was the hardest thing, but the most beautiful thing. And I hold that to me because I feel like I need her now more than I ever did when she was alive. I can't explain it, but there's nothing but good things have been happening with the store moving forward. And there's so much promising for 2025, and I'm super excited about it. So those hardships have turned into blessings, and planning and believing and just following your intuition and your path. That vulnerability is so scary until you realize it's a strength. And if you can show your vulnerability in a professional way with boundaries, it makes you validating to your own self that you got this and you are worthy of this and you deserve this. And that's where I'm feeling right now. A little overwhelmed, but that's the shift, the change that's moving forward with the business. And I have a great business advisor and friend on my side to help me, because as you said, we're really hard on ourselves. My lingo isn't also the same as Rita's because it's your profession, Rita, but she also gives me validation that I can do this and I have been doing it and there's nothing wrong with the way I'm doing it. It's just time to change things to be better.
Wow. It sounds like you've been through a growth this year.
Oh yeah. Actually the last 5 years, but this last 6 months has been the 180.
Transformation.
Thank you so much for being so authentic, Kasha. I think you just hit my heartstrings again and then pulled on them and made me recall lots of different pieces of my life that sometimes I feel I haven't overcome, but now I feel like I'm okay too. So thank you for doing that for me by being vulnerable. People don't realize how important it is to let their light shine, because it does help so many others. Okay, so you've gone through probably more than most, or maybe exactly the same as the rest of us in terms of life and business, and you've been able to knotty up and keep going. But what's happening going forward with the Knotty Cowgirl? I would love to understand a little bit more on the future and the vision.
I'll just kind of do a quickie on the store. So the store is a Western consignment store, new and used tack, selling cowboy boots, Western wear, and also my brand that Rita and I are wearing today. And I also have the Knotty Cowboy brand because it's TKC, so I want to fit to everybody. I just actually had a motion picture filmed at my store last week. So my store is completely empty. And I felt like this was a blessing from mom for me to start fresh, because I just had my 7-year and I felt like I didn't know where I needed to go. I had some ideas. However, since we gutted the store and I had this amazing opportunity to do this, I actually feel like I have a brand new start on my own branding and myself now. I always think about the other person and making sure that they're okay, and like having consigners. I had more consigners than I did my own products. And I felt like my consigners, I hope this doesn't sound greedy, that my consigners were making more money than I was because I was so focused on them and selling their products. And I'm always selling out of my stuff, but I was always focused on my consigners. And so with this clean slate, I'm rearranging my store and making it the actual Knotty Cowgirl now, where it's my branding, my choices of what I want in there. And about a 90% TKC, maybe 10% consignment, and moving forward with getting my brand out there, because I've sent my brand, my apparel, to Australia, Germany, like it's just going everywhere. However, it's not that I never believed in my brand, because I was so focused on other people in my store, that now it's time for me to focus on my branding, who I am and who I'm becoming, and putting my brand out there for people to feel good wearing it and feeling, their worth. And because I felt like with Mom's passing and this movie, This Clean, I see my worth now, because I saw something in myself in the last actually couple weeks that I just want to not feel ashamed to want something for me now, because I've always put other people first. And so forward going is the TKC brand, and just get that going and getting it out there and just starting to make money now, on more money for myself and the store. I hope that didn't sound greedy, but it's time.
Sounds like you've been very generous, actually.
Yeah. And also, I am scared to say, hey, I want to focus on my stuff now. Your stuff's been here a while. It's time that I just don't want this stuff in there. And that's what's really hard for me to stand up, because my biggest thing is I don't like confrontations, because I love and I want everyone to get along, and I don't like disappointing people. However, it's okay to say no in a vulnerable state to get to where you need to be with the respect behind it. So that's my challenge moving forward, and this clean state and just my next steps.
Okay, Peggy, I'm going to throw the quick fire back to you. What's your takeaway or something that resonated with you?
I think people that allow themselves to be vulnerable also allow themselves to grow. When we aren't really honest with ourselves and we don't really lay it out there, that we're, operating blindly. But if you go from your gut and you go with that vulnerable person and you learn from it, then that's where real growth happens. So congratulations, you're there.
It hasn't been easy, and it's thank you. And you know what? I can actually say I love myself for everything I've gone through and where I am today, because of the good, empowering women and people around me. Honestly,
who you are.
I couldn't have done it without an amazing. Yeah, I have a great support system, and finding your people.
That's amazing.
Find your people.
That's amazing. So for me, I feel like I understand what the Knotty Cowgirl is about. Knotty with a K. And I'm gonna get one of your sweatshirts, because I'm gonna wear it when I'm quad riding, because that's how I feel when I'm quad riding, because I'm out there, full on
Naughty Candace.
Not worrying about. I know. I love my quad riding. I feel amazing out there, because you're out there doing crazy things, driving through mud puddles. Yeah, you wouldn't recognize me when I'm quad riding. So.
And you should come to the farm and bring your quad. Let's have fun.
Well, thank you so much. And that was our accountant, Candace, saying what she does on her off time, because
not a girl.
Would ever guess that.
I'm a naughty cowgirl.
We're all naughty cowgirls. We're just all of you.
Find your inner naughty, right? It's yeah.
So in the spirit of naughty with a K, I guess, or in honor of this, let's, maybe do a shout out to everyone and say, guys, naughty up. Thank you, Kasha, so much for sharing your story today. Like I said earlier, you've shared your heart with us, and I hope that our listeners are inspired by your journey as much as we are today. You can't see our faces, or maybe you can, but it really has been so inspiring. So I just wanted to say, maybe if this episode has helped you, please go ahead and share it with some other entrepreneurs and keep seeking your serenity. And hopefully this has brought you some serenity now. Thanks so much, Kasha. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Candace, as well. And until next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and picked up some good tips and best practices that would benefit your entrepreneurial journey. Remember, none of the content in this podcast should be relied upon as standard legal or business advice. Always consult a professional for your specific business. You may know someone who could benefit from this podcast. Please share it with your business community, and perhaps it can give an entrepreneur you know some serenity now.